the bus to the midnight shift, and you never get to sleep at night. But that's okay, 'cause you'll drink away.
Hello everyone again. This is Charlie from Montagazi Travels, and welcome to part 2 of a little sit-down chat that we had with a full-timing family, Ron and Kris. They're very insightful. They've been doing this for a while, and we kind of get a little hints and some first-hand knowledge of what it's like to travel and be full-time RVers with kids. Hope you enjoy this second part. Thank you very much.
Ask us anything.
Well, kids, like, sometimes, I mean, in Facebook, they have questions about kids, like what you do if...
You're both work camping.
Right.
Like, how do you work out the kids? Like,
we've never both work camped except up in Wisconsin, and we didn't actually start work camping full time until May. We were doing it weekends mostly because up there it's kind of like Adventureland. They don't work during the week.
They just work the different
6
schedules.
weeks, and so by the time we went full time, school's out, so we didn't have to school.
okay.
And then we left there in July. Because that was when I got hired by Amazon, and we were on our way to Amazon, and I was going to be the only one working with Amazon again. So the first time we were here, Kristen didn't work and she homeschooled, and so this time, obviously, I'm not working and I'm homeschooling. So we have never had
budget
the
it
situation
to where, right, to where only one of us had to work.
Right.
And then if the other one could, that it
worked
was
in the
just
schedule
odd
however you
jobs
could
or how.
She worked at Amazon in 2013 on weekends.
Right.
Yeah.
She went to work through the white badge system that you guys
I
have.
think you were telling me that, right?
Yeah.
Were you telling me that?
Yeah, and she so she worked on some of the weekends and just made some extra money.
Yeah.
And when we were down in Louisiana, she was
I
going to be the
initially
only
did all
one
the
that worked.
working.
But
that
that was
part,
just accident.
right, because that park would allow us that if the kids were outside playing, it was a small enough park to where I could still work and the kids could
And they would
still be
allow you to
outside
take care of the
playing.
kids. If you
and
need to go take care of them, go take care of them. They don't care.
And that was fantastic.
And that place was wonderful.
Because you can find those gems where they are very family oriented and let the kids play while you're working.
Well, I kind of have taken something from you guys too. That when you went to the park, the initial park that you went before you went to, where did you go? You went to Louisiana.
You mean the one in Alabama?
Yeah. So you guys basically got there and was like, we don't like it and we're leaving.
Yeah.
You know, so I think to myself now when I am trying to get a work camping job, I think, even if I don't like it, I'll just go. You know, it's not like a job where you go and you're like, man, I really need to get my 2-week notice, and
Right.
you know, like one of the
Doesn't
beauties
matter.
of it is you go there and you're like, hey, this is not for me, because it's the place that you live, not just the place that you work.
Right.
Your kids have got to be there, your wife has to be there, you know, like your partner has to be there,
Yeah.
and so. That's one of the things now that I consider after you guys told me about that.
It wasn't a paying
just for a
job.
site.
It was for the site, and we had enough money to do what we needed to do. But when we got there that night, and we met the guy that we were going to be working for, he was the assistant manager. He was the one we were going to work directly for, and he treated us worse than I would treat somebody I really dislike. And we went back to the RV, and it's like, let's go
You're
into
not
town.
stuck.
We went straight into
Yeah.
town, got Wi-Fi at a Wendy's, I think.
Wendy's.
And we found another park that we had to pay to go to because we weren't willing to even stay there a day.
But
And
it was
we
worth, it was
we
worth
hooked up
finagling
and we drove away.
Yeah, it was worth finagling the budget to go
Avoid
and pay
being
to avoid
miserable.
being there and being miserable. And
So I
that's
wasn't
the
gonna do
beauty
that.
of the lifestyle.
So let me ask you this question, just as succinctly as you can. Why do you do this? Like, why? I mean, why don't you get a house? Why don't you? You know, you have a garden. You can, raise your kids in a school. You can, like even if
You can do the same thing everybody else does.
Right.
And that's the bottom line. And I will be honest, we have thought about it many, many times, and we have talked to Ronald about it numerous times. And the bottom line is the kids prefer to be on the road because they get to experience school
Life.
and life rather than just reading about it in a book. When we were in Louisiana, Ron absolutely loves World War II, so we studied World War II in the 3rd grade. And he studied all about it. Then we took him to the USS Alabama and took him to the USS Drum and went to all of these things that are all from World War II. And so he experienced them and it makes an imprint on him that is irreplaceable. And so when we come here this time, we take him to the trout farm. He gets to trout fish, and he gets to see how trout are raised and how they're lived. He gets to go to Mammoth Cave, just like you guys did. He gets to see the national caves. He gets to see and do things, and probably has in his life more than 75% of the grown-ups in Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's why we do it.
That's
Well,
good.
you married me because nobody else your age could keep up with you, and that's one of our things. That's the truth. We're adventurous. Ron and I are very
wanna go.
adventurous, and we have kind of, I don't want to say like a gypsy soul, but we just have one of those souls where we love to move, we love to see, we love to experience. Because nobody else your age could keep up with you, and that's one of our things. That's the truth. We're adventurous. Ron and I are very
wanna go.
adventurous, and we have kind of, I don't want to say like a gypsy soul, but we just have one of those souls where we love to move, we love to see, we love to experience. And so you can't do that if you're sitting at home being miserable.
It's just
and
like finding all
struggling.
these places.
Yeah.
And we did that when we didn't have any money, because we just jump in the truck and go look and try to find things.
I haven't been in this lifestyle very long, but always we have had an alternative, like to education and things in our house.
Right.
And so I was at work the other day, and I mentioned that I'm RVer, and I mentioned that I have kids. And the woman on it was like, "Oh my gosh, how can you do that to your kids?" Like,
Exactly.
You get that all the time.
and like me, I'm very cautious because I know America. America's not like in the Philippines where Raquel's from. Your kids are your kids, and nobody's going to try to come take them from you.
Right.
But I know that there's people that are just vindictive enough
Yes.
to send out child services.
Right.
To go, hey, these guys are mistreating their children.
Right.
They're living on the road. They're,
Right.
and
We know that.
I basically made sure that they understood that, hey, I was a teacher. And my kids are being very well educated.
Right.
She mentioned like having a routine, and I'm like, it doesn't matter where you're at.
You can have a routine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They eat at the same time, and they go and play, and they have their school, and everything like that. But sometimes just talking to certain people. I mean, I think people sometimes are vindictive in nature. Some of them, and you just got to be cautious. I feel.
Oh, you do.
Well, there is an immense, strangely enough, amount of jealousy for what we
and
do,
fear.
even though they would never
Exactly.
admit it openly. The one person who's really funny about it is my brother-in-law. He's 68 now, I guess. He's retired. He's been retired since he was 58, probably 10 years now. And he talks to me. We talk all the time. And the one thing he is constantly saying is, he says, you guys are doing what so many people should do in their lives. You are living life. You're not just growing old in the same place, doing the same thing over and over again. He said, I'm retired. And it's what he said. He said, I've been retired for 10 years. And he said, you do more in a week than I've done in 10 years.
Yeah.
He said, you guys are living life. And he says, most people will never understand that.
Well, I know you guys.
And that's true.
You guys are my neighbors. So I know where you live right now, which could change tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I always think the only thing that changes. I mean, our house is really our old house, or the house that we still have that
Right.
we rent out.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a nice place. But when I walk out the front door, I see the road. I see my neighbor's yard.
And you're out.
Every morning I wake up now, I see the lake. I see birds.
Yeah.
I see
Our place.
I just look at Raquel sometimes and I go, can you believe we are lucky
Right.
enough
Yeah.
to live like this?
Yeah.
Wait till
know?
you read the article.
Yeah.
That's in the article.
Yeah.
About
That
the
exact
beautiful
same thing.
view.
I told
Yep.
the guy asked me at one point something directly, and in that RV we had our picture window. There was nobody between us and the lake, and I made a comment at one point and I said, how many people in America get to wake up in the morning, sit here and drink coffee and look at that?
And look at the
right.
beautiful $1 million view.
Yeah.
You know,
I said,
it's just.
what
it's
do you have to
amazing.
pay for this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I told him.
And sometimes
he-
we get paid for
Yeah,
it. You know?
exactly.
It's an incredible lifestyle.
It is.
I really appreciate you guys talking on the camera. Because I mean, right now we don't have very many viewers, but people really like to know about this stuff, and I appreciate all the people that I watch, and I appreciate you guys because I mean, you guys really have given us a lot of insight into this kind of lifestyle. So
That's great life.
yeah, we
Can be.
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I'll turn this off.